It's a tale of two leaders. Donald Trump is taking a hardline approach to ridding his country of millions of illegals, whilst across the pond, Keir Starmer is struggling to cope with increasingly frustrated Brits who want a resolution to their immigration woes. Donald Trump is not slowing down on his promise to kick out illegals, tasking the State Department with reviewing the visas of 50 million people currently in the US. And this is just the latest step in Trump's plan to combat illegals. In May, he signed an executive order launching a self-deportation program.
Today I signed an executive order to launch the first ever self-deportation program for illegal aliens. We are making it as easy as possible for illegal aliens to leave America. Any illegal alien can simply show up at an airport and receive a free flight out of our country.
According to the New York Times, this has contributed to 1.5 million migrants leaving the country and a decrease in the immigrant population to 51.9 million people. And Secretary of State Marco Rubio doubled down today, pausing the issuance of working visas for commercial truck drivers. In a statement on X, he said, "Effective immediately, we are pausing all issuance of worker visas for commercial truck drivers. The increasing number of foreign drivers operating large tractor-trailer trucks on US roads is endangering American lives and undercutting the livelihoods of American truckers." The swift action came after 3 were killed when an illegal alien truck driver allegedly made an illegal U-turn, causing the fatal accident in Florida, according to the New York Post. The decisive action is in stark contrast to the UK, where Prime Minister Keir Starmer is struggling to cope with the growing frustration from his own people about the immigration crisis in the UK. Operation Raise the Colours is a show of patriotism by residents across the UK.
It's a patriotic outpouring, what's going on. And I think this is because of several reasons. I think, yes, it's a pushback. It's a pushback against this anti-British government, whether that be signing off surrendering Chagos Islands, international aid or international climate aid. They seem to be focused on everyone but the British people. So I think it's a pushback against that. I think it's a pushback against mass uncontrolled immigration, and yes, against illegal immigration and these hotels, which is quite honestly quite scandalous when our own residents are being left behind in inadequate housing and some veterans are homeless.
And in a blow to the Starmer government, a court has granted a temporary injunction to close the Bell Hotel in Epping, Essex. Spiked Online editor Tom Slater celebrated the ruling, saying protests work.
Well, I think that's the take-home message. It has to be. I mean, this hotel, as Anna was outlining there, has been used for housing asylum seekers since 2020, with some periods in which it wasn't. And yet it was only as soon as we've seen in recent weeks, thousands of people turning up outside the Bell demonstrating overwhelmingly peacefully, but with some unpleasant violence around the edges, that this has forced the issue, that you've seen the council really push this, and that also that it's become an issue of national importance.
The fallout from this injunction has led the Home Office to urgently appeal for 5,000 homes to house 20,000 migrants. According to The Telegraph, housing specialists were consulted by the Home Office searching for flats to house 4 migrants each, with a long-term view to close migrant hotels in the UK. And after Keir Starmer was humiliated after Europe's immigration was blasted by President Trump.
Europe is a much different place than it was just 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And they've got to get their act together. If they don't, you're not going to have Europe anymore as you know it. And you can't do that. This is a magnificent part of the world, and you cannot ruin it. You cannot let people come in here illegally. And what happens is there'll be murderers, there'll be drug dealers, there'll be all sorts of things that other countries don't want. And they send them to you and they send them to us, and you've got to stop them.
He started talking tough on illegal immigration, posting this on X yesterday. "I am determined to smash the business model used by people smugglers, and I'm taking joint action with our allies to make it happen. Building on our deal with France and renewed international cooperation, our strengthened partnership with Iraq will deter small boat arrivals and secure our borders." But not everyone is convinced. Host Mark Dolan told Sky News host Paul Murray Keir Starmer is not doing what he promised to keep illegal migrant numbers under control and keep the community safe.
Listen, I'm so well, Paul, but we're not that merry at the moment. The country is in crisis. You know, I was doing my homework on Australia, and you guys had an immigration crisis that really reached a peak in 2008. Over 5 years, 50,000 people entered Australia illegally. Well, we've done that in a year, Paul. It is a major crisis, a major headache for the Prime Minister, who said he was going to tackle the issue. He said he was going to smash the criminal gangs, but the numbers are up.
Absolutely. And also there's this issue about where those 50,000 people are. They're in literally hotels. Yeah. But thankfully, a local council seems to be getting a court win that might be short-lived, but they've got the chance now to say, no, bugger off, not here.
Absolutely. Paul, it is a win for people power. Obviously, peaceful protest, violent protest is not what we want. And quite often, when regular folks do protest about a migrant hotel, they're labeled far right, but that's because everyone's far right these days, of course. If you have common sense and if you have opinions from, I don't know, the mid-90s, then you're basically an undesirable in the kind of modern narrative. But really, it's back to basics, which is the border is there for a reason and people want to live safely in their communities. And that's not possible in a small town where you have a migrant hotel. Now, first of all, there's an emotional attachment to hotels within a community because often they've been there for decades. People have got married there, births, deaths, christenings. It's a focal point of the community. If that hotel is populated by undocumented young men, well, it's no longer got that legacy and it's a threat to the safety of the community. I'm not saying all these folks are dangerous. Of course not. Most of them are economic migrants who want a better life. But the first thing is that's not our job because you could accept 1 billion people who want a better life. But the issue with the hotel accommodation reached a head at the Bell Hotel in Epping, Essex. That's the case that you were referring to, Paul, where locals had been protesting partly because of the issue around losing their local hotel, but predominantly the safety of women and young girls. So there was an Ethiopian asylum seeker who was living at this hotel who was charged with a series of sexual offences, including some against a 14-year-old girl. The locals were furious. So what's happened is this very courageous local authority, council leaders have won a temporary injunction to close the Bell Hotel. But really, it's Paul, it's the people against those who govern us, because the Home Secretary, who's responsible for this mess, is actually fighting in the courts to keep these hotels open and to have upwards of 200 men accommodated in what used to be 5-star luxury.